City Council is now called to order at 6:06 p.m. Ms. Miners, would you certify the quorum, please? Please, no more talking, the meeting's been called to order, please. Ms. Miners.
Councilmember
No
Rowland.
talking.
Councilmember Rowland. Councilmember Randall. Councilmember Jones. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Wallace.
Present.
Thank you, ma'am. If we would rise for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. And we have one of our incredible students that will lead us in prayer. Yes, ma'am? Yes.
Father God, we come to you today to say thank you. Thank you for this day and thank you for bringing us all here together. I hope that we can come together and have a great meeting and everybody can be satisfied with our decisions. I just pray that everyone make it home safely once we leave here. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. And now for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not too much talking in the room. Okay, and now we have a presentation. Dr. Brown, would you call your people up for an incredible principals presentation?
I'm nervous. I wanted to, October is National Principals Month. And in the city of Prairie View, this wonderful, beautiful city that we live in, we have one school, elementary school, which is Jones Elementary School. And that means we have one principal here in the city of Prairie View, which is Miss Ashley Kinney. And not only is she the principal at Jones Elementary School, but she lives in our community, which makes it really, really, really nice. So, in honor of Mrs. Kinney, the hard work she does with children in her school and just in the community in general, we decided, it started out with our Economic Development Corporation. We were talking about how businesses and the education community could link together, and then we said, oh, it's National Principals Month. Well, started out, it was supposed to be a little thing between the businesses in the community and the school. But it turned out everybody in the community wanted to be a part of this. So it ended up much bigger than it is, but we wanted to show our appreciation. And so in order to do that, Ms. Kinney, will you come up, please? Okay. Good evening. This is Miss Kinney. Dr. Scott, come on up since you're a part of her. And we have people from the retired teachers, and we have people from the Chamber of Commerce. We have people, and I don't have time to list all the names, but just about everybody in this room contributed to that. Miss Carter, Miss Cookie Bennett, Miss Eccles, Miss Isis Collins, Miss Easy, Attorney Griffin, our accountant, Reverend Hayes, Joe Harrison, Annette Baker, everybody, the Andersons, the Walkers, the Wendy Williams, Councilman Zante Wallace, Councilman Jones, Councilman Randall, David, Mayor David Allen, even the president of Prairie View A&M University, Dr. Ruth Simmons, contributed to this. So, to show our appreciation, come on, y'all. How do we do this? I want to get a good picture.
Well, I think you might even want to have Ms. Kenny standing right next to it as you're unveiling on the other side of the stage.
We have this
Make sure
unveiling.
you're in the picture of your unveiling.
I mean, members in the office, front office, the police department. I mean, members in the office.
Ready?
Mr. Hosmer, Ms.
Ready for the big unveiling? Stop. Dr. Brown.
His daddy was a coach in Prairie View A&M. That's Coach Kenny's child, and that's Coach Kenny's grandchildren.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Wait a minute. Baby, it was so many people wanted to contribute and give. We ran out of space on the little poster board. So my student here, Ms. Ware, had to run down to Dollar General and get a good bit. There's more envelopes in there. And wait a minute, let me tell you in front of your husband and children. Each one of these envelopes, they have a little something in there for you.
Oh, my goodness.
So don't drop in.
Really, be careful. Now get you a Coke or some Sprite or a glass of wine, or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever you want. But that's
Ms. Kenny, we just want to, as our principal at H.T. Jones Elementary School, and I don't know the last time the principal lived in the city. So we're just excited to have you and your husband and children in the city. And now we'll let you say something to the audience.
Sure. I would just like to thank each of you. I truly appreciate it's a privilege and an honor to serve as the principal of our students here in Prairie View, as well as the families here in Prairie View. And I'm so glad. We haven't been back long, maybe a couple of years, but we are glad to be back. I'm a graduate of Waller ISD, and I am also a graduate of Prairie View A&M University. So I am happy to be here. Thank you so much, guys. I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
and her husband is a principal too
I mean, associate principal at the high school.
at the high school. But he not in Prairie View at school, so if she wants to give him a hand or whatever, she can. Mrs. Smith at East Texas Precast. Let me tell y'all, Lauren Cement, Flo Kim, the Chevron station, Valero station, Subway, the credit union, the post office, everybody. I'm serious, everybody. All I had to say, I mean.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much. Can you take a picture real fast? Do you want to be in the picture, Dr. Brown?
And don't forget about Ms. Carter.
Yes, Miss Carter.
Make sure everybody's phones are turned off, please.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Everybody, just please give her a big hand of appreciation. Thank you. Oh, I forgot.
Next, and moving the agenda, Dr. Brown, we certainly want to thank you, the committee, and all the folks, council members, and all who contributed to that, because we really appreciate H.T. Jones being in the community and everything that our principal and those incredible students are doing. Citizen comments. Ashley Jackson?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, council. bring something to you all's attention because it kind of bothered me a little bit. So last meeting, we swore in a new officer, but the meeting wasn't even over yet, and the officer was at the door asleep. I took a picture, and some other participants of the meeting were watching as well, and we were all looking at each other like, is he on duty, or is this leisure time? Not sure. But I wanted to bring that to you all's attention because a lot of citizens have brought it to your attention that they're concerned about you vetting these new officers coming in. And I love that we're bringing these people in, but at the same time, we have to be mindful of when we're on our job, and if we are, make it known when you're on your job. And to get away from that, I still am speaking with some residents who have issues with their water bills. And I've asked before, maybe you all could possibly put that on the agenda. Because I know it's maybe some personal issues, maybe not. But it's an issue that I feel like the community should be able to speak about. You all should be able to speak about it with the community in a public setting. And also I put on there item number 11, so I'll just wait until that item comes. And also I have a suggestion, Mr. Mayor. Not to, be disrespectful or anything, but I feel as though sometimes when citizens want to speak on certain items, you kind of forget. And I know it's a lot going on, so I don't try to see your heart, try to see, what's going on. But maybe there can be some, I know Ms. Biden's probably gonna be like, oh Lord, but maybe we can do some kind of list for you to be able to see that, hey, we're getting to this item. Okay, so this resident wants to speak on this item. Maybe you have a separate list from the citizens' comment cards that you see. Just a suggestion. I'm just throwing something out there. Maybe, if you have something better, if somebody else has something better, just so we can continue to grow as one. Thank you.
Marie Herndon?
Marie, on which one?
The water bill that just came up, so I think that's.
I'll do the
Utility
first
bills?
No,
Utility
the other
bills.
one, the cancer one.
Oh,
Okay,
Cancer awareness
right.
month, okay.
Good evening, residents, good evening, the council, mayor.
Good evening.
Doctor, you mentioned this was Principals Awareness Month. It's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's a month that's very dear and near to me. I'm a 17-year survivor. I stand before you cancer-free. There are some others in here. There are some others in here who have a survivorship much longer than mine. Ms. Durham and Ms. Carter. Oh, yeah, Ms. Reed. I'm sorry, please stand. Because we've been through a lot. We have been through a lot. And I stand before you today cancer-free as I thank God. I thank Dr. Berry. I thank the Brenham Imaging Center. I thank MD Anderson staff and doctors. I thank my amazing son and his wife. And he's one of the police officers back there, and I can guarantee you he was not asleep. I would like to share some Black history information with you relative to Breast Cancer Month. More than a decade ago, former State Representative Dr. Josetta Wilkins, one of the first Black women to serve in the Arkansas legislature, led the fight against breast cancer. Her tireless efforts led to the legislature passing the Breast Cancer Act. Dr. Wilkins helped create the Breast Cancer Program, a division of the Arkansas Department of Health and Human Services, which provided women without health insurance free breast screening and treatment, a health prevention option for women before the Affordable Care Act. Let's salute Dr. Josetta Wilkins, a Black lady.
for this Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yeah, did you know anything?
Yeah, actually, I think since, water bill and utilities just came up, it's appropriate since you got it to go to your next one.
Okay, now Ashley, where is that? Ashley, I think we were on the same line of thought there relative to utility bills. In August, I paid a utility bill for Creekside Apartments. The receipt showed a credit balance. September, it showed a past due balance. And October, this month, again, it showed a past due balance. Well, when I discussed it with Ms. Durham, she shared with me it's an issue with the program. And I'm wondering how our consumers really know what their bill is. She said, don't worry about it. She said, don't pay that part, just disregard that. We should not be getting bills that we should disregard anything on. Our bill should be accurate.
Put on this.
I move to extend Ms. Hernan Tom.
And may I speak, for me?
Hold on. Go ahead, go ahead. Finish your motion.
I move to extend Ms. Hernan Tom 2 extra minutes.
It's been properly moved and seconded that Ms. Herman be allowed a couple more minutes. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And motion, please
Thank you.
continue.
So I understand that the billing is not complete until everything is put in from the prior month. So this may be a program issue that we need to deal with, or maybe even need to look at something besides quick water if it does not meet our needs. But our consumers need to know what their bill is every month. And there shouldn't be any confusion, because some people just look at the bill and pay total due. And I know and one person in here, sitting here, I don't know if she'll stand up, but she had a $10,000 water bill. and she lives-
10,000?
And she lives alone.
No talking outside the speaker.
And she lives alone, and there was an issue like that with a lady over in Pine Island, the same thing. And I know my bill was paid before the due date, and it showed a past due balance. And I said, why? And they said, well, but you don't have a $10 late fee, so just disregard it. But it's important that we do get accurate billing and accurate information to our consumers, and that we all know what it is that we owe, so we can pay it and pay it on time. So, thank you so much. And I do appreciate the extension.
Isis Collins?
I'm only speaking on an item on the agenda.
Okay. Ron Leverett?
Mr. Levy got 3 minutes,
Thanks for the acknowledgements, Mr. Council, to the mayor and the city council. First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that I noticed that you included a couple of items, or 2 of the items at least, on the agenda that I had brought to you previously, having to do with the discussion and take action on the surface in the driveway. Again, that is, again, I want to say that gifts, any gifts that are given to the city have value. And I think that when we talk about doing our budget, Mr. J.J. Johnson, when we talk about doing the budget, the city budget, each item, each project has value. And if we're doing a budget, when someone donates something of value to the city, that increases the budget. Because if you have a budget item for pavement, street repair, and someone donates that material, that adds to the budget. And that's common sense. The thing about that is, the other part about it is, whoever donates it to the city, it's obvious that they're gonna take it, it has a value of their taxes. Somewhere the city would be responsible for offering that, having that information available, so that when they write it off on their taxes, somewhere the city should have a copy of what possibly what they're gonna write off. That's my understanding. Might not be correct. So I encourage, for a matter of bookkeeping on behalf of the city, and that our books are kept proper. I talked about a forensic audit. If the city's budget and bookkeeping is up to speed, I don't see anything wrong with a forensic audit. You mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the need to collect some additional funds related to some money was missing in an amount of $50,000 to $150,000. I think that needs to be, that's part of the forensic audit. And I think that would show in the forensic audit, because an outside auditor other than the auditor by the city would do that forensic audit. And I think they would go to the depths to really finding out what happened to that between the 50, as you said, and $150,000. So again, I encourage the city to do a forensic audit. And if we're really concerned about trying to get our financial business in place as it relates to water, sewer, anything else we do, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we give Mr. Leverett an extra 2 minutes.
Second. So properly moved and second, then Mr. Larry get an extra 2 minutes. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
2
you.
more minutes, Mr. Larry.
Thank you. The other item that I want to mention, another item I want to mention that has to do, also on here, is, has to do with illegal dumping. You live on, what street you live on, whatever street you live on, the property behind you, there's illegal dumping. I say it's illegal. Maybe it's not illegal. But I don't think TCEQ knows about it. And I think that, I asked a question before and I haven't gotten an answer. And I hope that I can tonight get an answer as related to related to the parking lot. But the illegal dumping, I mean, I'm sure that you know about it because it's right behind your house. And I think that some of the stuff that they're dumping, we don't have, I doubt if we have a permit for it. So somehow we're dropping the ball. And I'm not complaining, but I'm bringing it to your attention because it's obvious that probably you don't have the time to really check, what's happening in the backyard. The last thing I want to speak on my one minute is I want y'all to take a careful look at item 6 in terms of the spending of $49,800 from 4B economic development. And I'm really questioning this in terms of job creation. Where are the jobs that are created in the expenditure? And where's the economic development? I would like to hear, I'm waiting to hear the presentation that Mr. Eads is going to make to you. And I want to hear where the jobs are created and where the economic development is. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. Dorothy Anderson Carter.
Just a second. Giving all praises to God, I had just a question. Who's over the parade? The city of the university? I just need to know that question. Because they let them off down here by Dr. Brown's house, and there was old ladies in wheelchairs, and then my husband had to go get somebody there, blood pressure medicine. And I went and got 75 bottles of water for them. And I just think whoever's over it should have had that under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Johnny Walker.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and my friends from Prairie. I live on Owens Road, on close to the Jane Muse turnoff. My husband told me one day, the county is no longer cutting your streets.
we had a good discussion because I argued with him. I said, I know they are still cutting. But last week, I noticed the county cuts to a certain point and stops. I went back and I looked at my tax report, and it says that we do pay city and county road tax. I want to know, I talked to someone in the county, and they gave me a response. But I need to know from the city, we're concerned about the trash pickup. What about cutting the streets, the grass? Why was this decision made? If it was made by the city, why weren't the citizens who live in Prairie View, who are taxpayers, who are paying taxes for this, not involved in this decision? I know that this cannot be answered tonight, but I would like to see this on the agenda and open for discussion. Thank you.
Item 1, discuss and take action on the approval of city council meeting minutes dated October 14, 2019. What's council's pleasure?
Mr. Mayor,
Council Wallace.
I move that we approve of the meeting minutes from the meeting of October 14, 2019.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the meeting minutes from October 14, 2019 meeting be approved. Heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 2, Police Department 30-day activity report. Officer Eagleman.
Good evening, council and mayor.
Good evening.
Okay. 30-day activity report for the City of Prairie View Police Department. Total calls for service, 80. Total traffic stops, and this would be for the month of, starting from October 1 until yesterday, October 27th. Total traffic stops, 62. Total citations issued, 86. Total minor accidents, 4. Total major accidents, 2. Hit and run accidents, 1. And total arrests made, 6. Total reports completed, including accident reports, were 24 for the month of October. And 2 investigations that will be submitted to the Waller County DA's office, 1 felony charge, drug charge, 1 we submitted to the grand jury for sexual assault. Okay. We're currently working on the property evidence room, getting it up to date and getting it all archived cases conformed and correlated with the evidence that we have on board. Also, we're working on the network system in reference to the in-car computer system that's in place. And I'd like to also acknowledge that all of our Prairie View officers worked at least 12-hour shifts, days off for the homecoming week. We are short-handed, and I'd like to commend them for the job that they stepped in and did for small green crew.
Why don't we have all the officers step into the room. All officers step into the room.
A lot of you know Officer White. This is Officer Rodriguez. This is Officer Mosley. And this is Officer Gray. I'd also like to thank all of y'all for y'all hard work and time well deserved and spent in the city of Prairie View. Okay?
And we're only missing Officer Watson
Officer Watson, Dean.
and Dan. Okay. Awesome. Again, gentlemen, we appreciate what you're doing, putting your lives on the line for us. You did a great job through homecoming. We had little to no incident with over 60,000 people.
Okay.
So we appreciate what you did. get it in now. Again, excuse me.
I like to commend the job and the time that you guys put in for our city. My question is, I guess my question would be, well, first, I see, why is Officer Ross no longer with the department?
He resigned.
Do you know why, Mr. Mayor?
He actually, in his resignation, didn't state a reason.
Can you speak up, Mr. Mayor? I can't hear you. Can you
He
speak up?
resigned and he didn't state a reason.
Okay, well, I'm not.
Okay?
And then, so we have 7 officers, and so,
Actually, and you bring up a good point, because Officer White is the warrant officer, the municipal court bailiff, and on Mondays he does ordinances, we actually are down to 6 active patrolmen since Officer Ross's resignation. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
okay, and then, that means that Officer Gray, has been promoted to a full-time officer.
That's correct.
My question is for you, Officer Ingleton. Do you happen to be the officer now, I guess that reports to the mayor now that Officer Ross is,
Yes,
no
sir.
longer here?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I asked what made you make that, not saying that you're not credible, but I just wanna know what, led to him, making that decision.
Council, is it
No.
okay, appropriate?
On item 2, it's really not appropriate for just the activity update for the police department. It may be on one of the other items.
Okay, Mayor, is it appropriate for me to ask, what's the shifts in which the department will be, working due to the fact that last time Officer Ross came in, he made adjustments to the shifts. Now that Officer Ingleton is now taking on those, duties and tasks, may I ask what adjustments does he plan to make or not underneath
But
this?
I don't think under the activity report, maybe under one of the next 3.
Okay. I guess I didn't need to. But as well, thank you guys once again.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes. Item 3, discuss and take action on releasing contingency funds for hiring of 3 new police officers. This is on agenda, again, for the second time, but with the resignation of Officer Ross and our officers working 12-hour shifts, when they run into a situation, they're out there alone. And now that we have the funding for additional officers, it's time to have them backed up. They've been out there for years, but that was because we didn't have the revenue. Now that we have the revenue and we see the job they're doing, and being out there with them over homecoming, they were burning out. They were burning out because it might have been time to get off shift and they had a stop or something they had to finish or do reports and things of this